This should be exciting for you. We got a little bit of a fan element for the first time, but it seems like your transition has been really seamless. What's it been like for you the last couple weeks?
It's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work. The team's really getting after it. OTAs has been great. I think our team is right where we need to be. And for me personally, just getting acclimated to the weather, super hot out here. Getting familiar with everybody in the building, just getting to know everybody, and it's been great, man. I think the sky's the limit for where we can take this thing, and just looking forward to all the many days of hard work ahead of us.
Yeah. Not only does a quarterback have to kind of understand the playbook and be on the same page with the offensive coordinator, but I'm really at this time like leadership and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do to make sure that you're leading the way that Geno leads?
Yeah, I mean, just connecting with all the guys. I mean, for me, it's about building relationships and just talking to all the guys, hanging out off campus, away from the facility, just getting to know everybody. Went to many dinners with the O line. I know they're happy about that. Always
Yep.
paying for those. Just get to know Trey, getting to know Jacoby. All the guys, man. Just us hanging out. That's the main thing, and just really connecting with the guys and making sure they understand that it's about production. We're here to win now, but it's also about the relationships we build along the way.
Geno, speaking about the relationships, is there a way to really put into words your relationship with Pete Carroll? I mean, you guys go back a ways up in Seattle, obviously, but
Yeah.
would you be here if he wasn't here right now? And just how would you describe that relationship?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Would I be here if he wasn't? I don't know. That's a great question, but I do know that God works in many ways, in mysterious ways, and for Coach Carroll to be here and for him to have me as a part of this thing and to be able to lead this thing, it's a dream come true. But also, he understands what I'm about. I understand what he's about. It's about how we work every single day. It's the energy we bring to the building. It's everything, the camaraderie that we build here, and most importantly, it's the way that we go out and we play the game and the way that we practice. And that's something that Coach Carroll believes in. The compete mantra is something that he believes in, and for me as a player, just follow his lead. He's the guy who's leading this thing, and I just got to do my job, and it makes it really, really simple.
Share with us rookie OTAs when you break the huddle and you got Ashton, then you got Jack and Dante before Brock comes in with the veterans and you see Jacoby. What was that like knowing that you have rookie weapons who are going to have an impact right out of the gate?
The great part about it is those guys you mentioned, and there's more, but this rookie class is very mature. A lot of guys who played a lot of football, they understand how to work, and they're pros. They're becoming pros. They're learning. I think Dante and Jack have done a great job of just stepping right in and becoming a part of this team. And we got high expectations for those guys, right? Ashton, we got high expectations for Ashton, but the main thing is that he works and that he follows the leadership of the veteran guys. And like you said, there's guys like Brock, there's guys like Jacoby that you can learn from and you can watch. Michael's been doing a great job at setting the tempo and setting the tone. And so for those young guys, they just got to pay attention to what's going on and just learn from the vets, and they've done a great job at that.
Yeah. Talk to us about Geno year 2 to you right now. I mean, what's the difference and the expectations, leadership styles, playing styles, skill set? Talk to us a little bit about the differences of that young guy and who you are now.
There's a lot of differences.
Yeah.
And, there are a lot of similarities as well. But I think in anything in life, man, growth is important, and experience, like they say, is always the best professor. And so I've gained a lot more experience from then to now, and I've seen a lot. Been coached by a lot of great coaches. Been around a lot of great players, and I've been able to learn every single step of the way. And so for me, it's just about as I get older, I continue to get better. You want to age like a fine wine, but also, just keeping that youth. And I think Coach Carroll does a great job with his spirit and just the way that he goes about things and brings his energy. And so for me, it's just keeping that youth. And I feel great. I don't feel a day over 25. I feel like I can do this thing for at least another 10 years. And so my goal is to continue to take it day by day and just stay focused on, being in the present.
Geno, you spoke recently that you actually revered Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator.
Yes, sir.
Now you guys are together. He recruited you coming out of high school, back when he was coaching in college. How would you describe what a Chip Kelly offense is going to look like this coming fall?
Yes, sir. I think Coach Kelly has done a great job throughout his career at adjusting to the players that he's had, and so Coach does a phenomenal job at figuring out what we do best as players, and then implementing his style onto that. You saw when I remember watching him when he was at Oregon, when I was coming out of high school, and it was, the spread attack, and they, did all these, sweep schemes and runs, and the RPO game was just being introduced to college football, and he was spearheading that. And then, you saw when he went to the Eagles, and he had Nick Foles, he had Mark Sanchez, he had Mike Vick, all different styles of quarterbacks who he was able to get great production from. And then you saw just this past year with Ohio State, right? They got all these great players, and they all were able to, touch the ball and do their thing. And so coach has done a great job of just making sure that whatever we're best at, he's going to make sure that we go out there and we're able to execute it. And he's very, he's very good with that, and he does a great job of just, figuring out what we can do and then putting us out there and putting us in the best position.
EA and I always talk on the pregame show about playing faster and playing with a purpose, kind of a point guard for this team to get in and out of the huddle, for you to be so good at reading the defense and changing a play if you have to and get into an explosive play.
Yes, sir.
Are you excited about that with these weapons to just run an offense that's going to be more quicker, faster, defiant, and take what you want to take going downfield?
Oh, for sure. Like I always say, we want to be explosive, but we want to be efficient. You want to take your shots, but you don't want to take shots all game, right? The goal is to get 10 yards before you get to the end zone, right? So you just got to get 10 yards at a time. And when we get those opportunities, when there's the right coverage and we got the right matchups, we'll take our shots, and we'll, I think I've been pretty good with that throughout my career. But, the main thing is that we're efficient, right? You want to be great on first down. You want to be great on second down, and then you want to master third downs because that's where you win the game. And then you really want to score touchdowns in the red zone, right? Because that's what separates the good from the great teams. So for me, like you said, man, we want to take chunks, and we got all these superstar players that are going to do all these great things and, gain all these yards, but it starts 10 yards at a time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For your game, what's the best part of your game? We're going to see each Sunday. It doesn't matter. When you wake up in the morning, you know that part of your game is going to be on. When you go to bed, you know it was a great day. What's your best skill set?
Yeah, I would say two things. Number one, I play the game from the neck up. So like the mental side of the game is something that I've, really always taken very seriously. And as I've gotten older, like anything, it's gotten easier.
Yeah.
And I'm able to process faster. I'm able to see things faster. And then my accuracy, that's to me my superpower. I can throw a really accurate, really catchable ball, and the goal is to complete passes. So that's the main thing, is to make sure that I'm on time, I'm delivering the ball to the right guy, making the right reads, and then I'm throwing them a catchable ball so they can catch, get upfield, and score a lot of touchdowns.
Geno, as the guy playing the most important position in all of team sports, quarterback.
Hey.
Yeah, well, I'm talking to the cornerback here. Not only how would you attack a Hall of Fame cornerback, but how fine is that line, like you were talking about earlier? You want the explosive, but you want to be efficient. How fine is that line between taking what the defense gives you and taking what you want?
Yeah, it's a very fine line, and I think they go hand in hand, because if you're taking what the defense gives you, ultimately is what you want, right? You want to have a successful play, and you want to not waste any downs, and you want to have, make sure that each play, because you don't know which play in the game is going to be the play that wins the game, but each play that you have on offense, it's got to make sure it makes sense, right? And you got to do the right things, given the situation. So we talk about situational football a lot. We talk about how to master the situations, what to expect. I spend my offseason studying these defensive coordinators, and I get to know them like their middle linebacker does. And so when I go out there, I want to be able to anticipate what they're going to do. They can always change what they do, but to have a plan and a process and to be able to anticipate those things, it's what makes playing quarterback fun for me. It's the chess match, and as you get older, you take what you want, but you're also taking what they give you.
You're a leader in a team sport, but individually, we saw this last year in Costa Mesa. Max comes to training camp looking to wreck stuff. Like, he cares about the defense being up, and last year he was just a monster, and that's coming again. So when you guys pull up, or he's here or you're here, and you start that day with Max Crosby, what's that relationship been like?
I love it. I want Max to go out there and wreck practice every single day, because iron sharpens iron, and the harder it is in practice for us on offense and defense, the easier the games will be. So whenever I'm going against Max, I know I got to move my feet, right? You can't just sit back there in the pocket. He's coming off the edge. So it helps us as quarterbacks. You got to slide within the pocket, and you got to have those tight, quick footwork to be able to get the ball off, especially against those great pass rushers. And so if you can play in a confined pocket and with pressure, and I'm pretty sure you can play without it. So, as long as Max is bringing that pressure, and all the guys, as long as they put that pressure on us, and we'll put that pressure back on them as well.
Absolutely.
It'll make for a great team.
Yeah. The fan base, I mean, it's just crazy, right? The fan base,
love
the
it.
best, best in the league.
Yes, sir.
How have they, kind of adopted you, and what have you done for the fan base?
It's a work in progress. That's the one thing that I'm very excited to do, is to really get out in the community and really get to know these fans, and really just engage myself within the fan base. But it starts with making plays on that field. What I mean? You give them something to be excited about, right? Win a bunch of games and make a lot of plays on the field, and really get them excited about the team. And I think the direction we're headed, they should be really, really excited. Like I said, we're working extremely hard. It's one of the hardest working teams I've been on, and I think it's really going to lead to some success here.
Geno, you're also one of the guys that's been in the league for a while, but you still have a lot of tread on the tires, so to speak, because you didn't play for a long time in the middle there as well. And some of the names, and we were talking about this earlier today, they kind of come to mind as far as being a Raider historian. The Jim Plunkett's, the Rich Gannons. How much do you know about the history of this organization? You're obviously going to be yourself, but do you kind of lean on those lessons as well with this organization?
100%. I know about all those guys. I watched Rich Gannon, when I was growing up in his MVP season and the year they went to the Super Bowl. Tons of great players on that team. I got to meet Jim Plunkett, got to meet his wife. Very, very nice people. And the Raiders legends are really active around here, which I really appreciate. You get to see these guys up close, guys like yourself, and just Hall of Famers throughout the building. Just some of the best players to play in this league. Even ownership, man, with Al Davis and Mark. And so, for us, for me, just coming into this organization, getting to meet these people and get to know everyone, and also, like you said, being myself, is very important. But I'm a historian, football historian, so I try to do trivia on all the best players of in the silver and black. So it's something that I'm really, really invested in.
Last one. I love what you just said. You get it. I feel like this is your moment. You've already had a really good career. You've had Pro Bowls. You've had a lot of success. But I'm just sensing from talking to you on the radio and today that you get how big this is for you and your legacy to take this team back to the promised land.
Yeah, and a thing about that is having great perspective for me. I think I love football to death, man. But like legacy to me is defined off the field more than on the field. But yeah, we want to go out there and we want to win games. I'm super competitive. I hate to lose. I hate to throw an incompletion. So I'm out here trying to win every single chance I get. And for this organization, more importantly than for myself, for my teammates, for the organization, for my coaches, for these beautiful people that work in this building, for the chefs in the kitchen.
Nice.
It's important that we all win here.
Thanks for doing this, Geno.